All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with us as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in this amazing Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions. Grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. To start things out, please drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear, and we can get this session going. All right. Please and thank you. Appreciate the early participation. See all those ones. Thank you very much. All right. So let me close out of this, and we can head right on over to the Forex Factory to talk about what happened today. All right, so we take a look at let me scroll up here. Federal funds came through 75 basis points as expected, right? But right, question to the group, for those of you who may have been able, I know we all have busy days and busy lives. The question is, based on what you might have read or heard or saw on TV, did we hear the Fed pivot? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Take your microphone off mute. Let me know.
Yes.
All right. We got a no. We got a no. We got a yes. All right. Anybody else? Denise? I don't know. That's an answer.
The
We'll take
Fed
it.
they hinted at entering an end phase. In the markets, the dollar started dropping initially.
Right. Right. But overall, everybody, no pivot. No pivot. Okay. 75 basis points. Now, I mean, not only that, right? Not a pivot. Now they're saying that the peak rate, which has been projected up until now at 4.5 to 4.75% peak rate, okay? Look, rates in which they look to top out at, may not be it. It may be close to 5 by the time they're all said and done. And not only that, the peak rate, right? So you have speculation out there, you hear it back and forth, throughout various sources. So for one, oh, they might pivot. Didn't really happen. Two, oh, well, when they hit that peak rate, it's probably gonna, they're gonna move it up to the peak rate, which they thought it was gonna be 4.5 to 4.75%. Now it could be higher than that. And not only that, it can be long lasting, right? They can hold at that peak rate. Once they reach that projected peak rate, maybe it's 5%, it's not going to be something that's quick. It could be long lasting. They're determined to get the rates back down to 2%, right? Get the target for inflation back down to 2%. And right, we're not seeing the squeeze in certain data points that they want to see, right? Labor is still tight. It's still they're still producing jobs. There's more job openings out there. We're not seeing it yet, right? We got ADP non-farm that came through at 239 on the projected 178. So we'll see how that if that correlates at all with non-farm payroll on Friday. So the Fed was fairly hawkish in my humble opinion, with everything that I've been reading today. Everybody was looking for that pivot. Did not happen. Did not happen. And to be honest, they haven't given any signs or signals up until this point today that they were going to pivot. So that's how the speculation game goes, right? And we see the market moving waves. We see the ebbs and flows as a result. We saw the stock market overall push up some of your indices. and it just looked to be a correction because then it went right back down. So that's what I took from it. Anybody else out there with any opinions that they want to share with the group, their thoughts on what happened today?
It seemed like the market was just listening to every single word, because at first it was like the dollar started dropping, and then all of a sudden things flipped around, and like you said, then the stock market started heading east. So it was like they were hinging on every single word.
Yes, which is why we say, let's just wait for the dust to settle instead of trying to trade that moment, right? And I hope everybody sees that now, right? That can create a very stressful situation. A lot of accounts are blown on these days because people are trying to, as we say, trade the news. And that was a great observation that you made, because it did. It went back and forth. It whipsawed. And you really don't want to get caught up in that type of price action. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are with it. So, Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, bro. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Glad to be here. Thoughts on today?
Yeah, glad to be here as well. Yeah, what exactly what you said. You know, everybody tried to make it seem like they were going to pivot, and ultimately they didn't. They still stayed relatively hawkish. And that's, again, like we talked about earlier in the week, I think that's going to stay that way, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think. This little piggy stayed home. Absolutely. So did I. So did I. So let's take let's go over, right. Front page, Fed delivers 475 basis point hike. Right. Look, Australia shares sink after the Fed decision. Weak plunges as Black Sea trade set to continue. Right. U.S. private companies add more jobs than expected. We just saw that with the ADP numbers. Oil hit a 3-week high, gave us a rebound. We'll see what that looks like with the technicals. European stocks fall, DAX snaps 7-day gain. Ebbs and flows, the ABCD waves, right? The down AB, then there's the correction up, and then down, down, down. And that's exactly what we are seeing. So we'll take a look at the US dollar here, and we can see, right? Held that support again. Held it again, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like we are moving to the upside for right now. Okay, so we held at that level, push it back up, so a little bit range bound. So the dollar bulls came back out. Now, I am going to dive into some subs, posted a lot in the Telegram for all of you to keep an eye on there. That's why we let the dust settle and then take a look at the trading opportunities after the events happen, right? So we just have to be patient, and we like to kind of let those setups fall in our lap. Okay, so just continue to always be a good money manager, manage your risk, make sure that you're using your confirmations, make sure that you are sticking to your trade plan as they relate to those opportunities. Okay, so those are quick 5-minute setups. We'll take a look from up top, higher time frames, to look at how these setups are playing out on the higher time frame chart. So here's an Aussie CAD that we posted on the 5. You can see we've got that down impulse move here, and now we're at the 118 zone. Is trying to push up, maybe to turn over and get that 127, not sure, but that's an 80-20 zone for us. But hey, for those longer term swing traders, it's all right, because for you, that's just a correction, because this is still, nothing's changed fundamentally. This is still moving down, okay? It's moving down. It's bearish. The Aussie CAD is still bearish, all right? Over the long haul. So if we come here, we take a look at this 1 hour, it gave us a nice pullback on the 1. You can see all the mess from today. and then we move to the downside. But we know that what goes down at some point likes to correct and come back up. And that's exactly what you're seeing here on your 5-minute chart, which gives us these 80-20 opportunities. Okay. Again, always, right, for our newer people, 2 ways. If you're a bear, wait for a high price, wait for it to hit the zone and see if you want to get short. Okay. But if you're trading that counter trend move, that classic 80-20, this is the setup. All right. So it's starting to push up a little bit. It's back up above the B boundary. We'll see if it'll continue to take momentum, get momentum, and move to the 382. Any questions on that Aussie CAD? No. All right. So I want to take a look at the forever trade, the Aussie Swiss, right? Overall, look, we're moving down, right? That's a beautiful, it's for the swing trade. That's right there in the sweet spot. Okay. And you see us pushing down on this Aussie Swiss. All right. You got a 61.8, stops above the A, projection D extension. Okay. Which from this point now is, see what we got. All right. Oops. Hold on 1 second. 333 pips away still, right? So for the long-term swing, 333 pips away. Look at this here on the 1, right? Everything's flowing. That's the 4-hour fib brought down to the 1. We've got an inner outer trend line break. Hey, we get that move. Wait till you see what we see here on the 5-minute, right? How long did that take? Didn't get to that D, down to the 382. Bang. Right? That's a forever trade. I like them a lot smoother than that, but the sequence played out. We came right into the target one. All right, now if you had to stop tight, probably got stopped out of that. That's okay. Might have got stopped out multiple times, right? But if you use a wide stop, like I like to use on these, hit target. Okay. So that's your Aussie Swiss, but you can see overall how everything is starting to flow, right? Look at your daily fib. Okay, it's pegged at this 382, is having a hard time and struggling. Stochastic is in the sell zone. So we may continue to see further downside momentum on that, right? But we're turning right over. Okay, so we're right on point with that trade. Any questions on the Aussie Swiss?
No.
All right. Okay. Want to take a look at the. So we did the. Want to take a look at this Aussie yen, because after that crazy whipsaw, it's starting to find its way, right? It's moving down. Okay, still in this range, but we got some downside pressure coming on that Aussie. Okay, commodities is probably what's going to happen to them, moving down. So higher time frame swing, pushing down. Okay, we had this just set up here on the range with the trend line drawn. You got the break. Okay, simple trading in the range, moving to the downside. Look at your 1, right? Moving up in the range, look at the turnover there. Okay, so we're moving down. You come down here to the 5 now. So it's just a matter, right? Use your confirmations, pushes passes 118, 127. You're seeing this now. Wait for a trend line break on that. Wait for a trend line break. See if it wants to recover. If not, it's going to head to the D. We start the game all over again. Okay, but it's in our zone. It's in our zone. All right, wait for additional confirmation. We're beyond that 127. See if it wants to come back. All right, so that's where we are on the Aussie yen. Okay, once you set your charts up, let the trades come to you. All right, so yes, we have a fib on this, but at the end of the day, this is just range bound right now. Okay, we got a 382 pullback, but it's trapped in the range, and you can see it's rejecting at these areas. Okay, so bottom to top, top to bottom. We'll see. Okay, we've got what's that? Daily support at 92.93 now. So we'll mark that and bring that down. like so. Okay. Like that. All right. That's down here beyond that level. Okay. So this one here, if it doesn't hold in reverse, break back above this 4-hour level, that's at this 127. Then you let that D hit, let it float. Maybe it gets to the support level. Then we see how we want to play it from there on the 5-minute. All right. Be patient with them. Be patient because you got room. If these recover and they break long, okay, that's 66 pips away on a 5-minute. So you got time to let that price break trend line, pull back a little bit, then take the trade. Okay. All right. Any questions on the Aussie yen?
Can you take a look at the 4-hour? It looks like maybe a potential pullback to the 61.8. After on a trend line there, waiting on a swing low as well.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me get back to the 4. All right. Where you at? Where you got your fib running? To the upside or to the downside? On the 4. You got it running to the upside? I'm just playing a range right here on this. You got it running like that. So took that out. Right? Spin that back. We're moving sideways. So those fibs are getting taken out. So where are you running your fib from?
Let me see. My A is sitting at 92.074.
Running it to the upside or you running it to the downside?
Running it to the upside.
Right here in this area?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Like this. Something like that?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you thinking? You thinking it's gonna hold and pull back? Is that what you're thinking now? It's coming to this zone?
Coming to the 61.8. I haven't pulled over my support resistance from the daily. I need to do that, but I've drawn a trend line down as well, thinking it may head back up for us.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Sorry about that. Yeah, I see what you're saying now, right? You're playing that, now you're the low. It's putting you in the same position, right?
Right.
Because what you're seeing, okay, you just see it differently than I do. That's the beauty of trading, right? So here's that turnover, that downside move, right? That's the downside move there, okay? And now you've got a trend line drawn to the downside, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So this here, right, is always important, right? That we know, okay? And you're catching on to this good, that this leg here, what you're seeing on the 5 is just a zoomed in version of that. That's it. So we're in the same area looking for a potential reversal. Well, you've got a AB boundary, you've got a double top here that pushed down. You're looking at this for a potential for it to make a move to the upside, whether it be short term or even longer term, right? If the Aussie starts catching bids, right, for the long play. But at the end of the day, we're in the same place looking for a reversal bullish. So we're on the same page. We just got to the conclusion in a different way, right? So you got confirmation here at your 61.8. You got some past structure there. I'm looking at it because I'm intraday trading on the 5. I'm looking at an impulse leg that just gave me a new fib that pushed down to the 80-20 zone. And boom, we're on the same page. So what you're doing on that level, it would be the same thing as me drawing a trend line to the downside on my 5, right? Right, just seeing the move early, right? So that would be the same as me looking at your 4-hour fib and saying, oh, it's in my sweet spot. Let me go down to the 5-minute to 15-minute for a potential entry. You see what I mean? Right? Because you're in the same zone. right? So that's good. That's good. There you go, like that.
Yeah.
See, put that on the outside since it's struggling. Let me give us a good break, right? And then pull back up above that 4-hour level at 93.58, and see if we can get it. We may not. Just wait on your confirmations. Use proper risk management. Market gonna tell you if you're wrong, right?
Right.
So that's where we are. That's where we are. So nice job. Any other questions on the Aussie yen? And look, everybody, right? If you're not, I know a lot of us may be busy working and things like that during the day. We're in different time zones, but if you see something, we made the other part of the Telegram for you guys because it was requested. So I see a lot of people sharing articles and things like that. Put your markups in there, right? If you have a trade idea, get active in the chat, put it in there, get some feedback from everybody. All right? It's just not we have one side where we send out the trade setups, but we created that other side for everybody to communicate, right? Their thoughts and their charts and stuff like that. That's how you learn. That's how you compress time frames. All right, by doing that. So if you have time, you have something that you're looking at, post it to the group. All right. So that is the Aussie yen. I want to take a look at this pound dollar. Okay. All right. And you can see how that's putting the spin in already. Okay. That's already trying to swing on us. Okay. So it's just a matter if it wants to maintain that momentum. At some point we get that pull back and that correction, but that's already trying to turn around on us right now. So what is that out the lows? It's already up 33 pips. Pounds are movers. The pounds are movers. So that's another one to keep an eye on. So we'll see at some point when they move impulsively like this, you typically will get some sort of a pullback, right? And then a move up, like so. Okay. So if you're not in on this one on the swing already, right? That's clearly if you had a trend line drawn, that's a trend line break. We took out this high right here. Here's another one that is coming into, right? There. You see that high right there on the 5 minutes, it's approaching that. So it's taking off now. So all you do is you just wait and see, okay, is it gonna form a high? Because it's got a ways to go, right? So somewhere off the low to the upside here, looking at 81 pips, right? Not bad for a 5 minute chart, right? So you got some time. So if it's taking off on you now, you don't have to worry about jumping it. See if it'll form a high, swing high, which is another level of what? Resistance, and pull back. And then you could put, run a sub fib or something like that at that point and see if you can catch it on the way up. So that one's taking off pretty fast. So that's what I would do. Maybe it pushes through 114.20, right? And you get a reaction back to the downside off of that, and then it continues up. Maybe you can catch it from there. All right, so that's the pound, but overall, it's important for us to look at it from the higher time frame in the swing, right? So if we come in and we take a look, we can see that we're getting a reaction. All right, we're getting a push off this level here. And right, we got that move down. You see how that's still playing games in that zone, right? Which is why that we let that C float. Once it gets into our zone, 61.8, 786, we just let it float. But as long as it doesn't take out the A, has no choice but to go our way. So we're not out of that trade yet. Okay, from the swing perspective, higher time frames. So here we got that inner trend line break. Now we're playing around with this outer trend line and we're getting a reaction. Well, that's playable. Okay, that's playable. Okay. A lot of traders I know intraday, they're in and out of that trade already. There's 30 pips, they're good, right? But I'd like to see if they can get to that 382 on the swing. So that's where we are on the pound. So continue to keep an eye on that one. Like I said, if that one got off on you too fast, just be patient and wait. See if it'll come back to you. Right? See if it'll come back to you. And when it comes back to you in your zone, maybe draw your counter trend line and see if it'll break and continue long. Right? Because we can't control what it wants to do, how it wants to travel to its destination ultimately. Okay, so if it wants to seek out that 382, right, it could turn over. Okay, right, it could hit this level and then it could push back down. For all we know, that's just the game we play. Right, there's always a level of uncertainty in this game. Okay, so that's why we just try to do our best to trade the areas of highest probability. Okay, because it's a probability game. All right, so we know that can occur. That's why we use stop losses. That's why we manage our trade and whatnot. But as of right now, that's moving along. Any questions on the pound dollar? No.
Nope.
All right, so we'll slide in on the UCAD. All right, it's turning over. Didn't quite make it up to that level, but we're getting some turnover in it now. So we'll see. We'll see if that sustains itself to the downside. Okay, maybe it'll bounce back up to that level. But you can see how price is reacting. Right? You see how it's reacting. So, right, we're it's like 50 pips away. Right, back up to that level. There's almost 50 pips to that zone. So you can see it turn over. Now, from the daily perspective, right, we're just bouncing around. Okay, kind of like the DXY, right? How it's just ranging. But look, we're in the buy zone. We haven't gotten that 382, but we got a double bottom in the zone where it's reacted. See here? Right? See how we got that double bottom right there at that 135 level? And that was a key level that I know a lot of traders were watching on some of the webinars that I get on. 135, is it going to hold 135? It held it. It held it. So we come to the 4. Okay. We've been watching that too. All right. Beautiful initial move, came right back down to 135 and double bottom. So you see how when we say as long as it doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go your way. Look at all of this madness on this setup. Right. But it's still within that AB boundary. Okay. Still has the potential to move. Right. Above 137. And get beyond that and start moving up to our long-term target at 140. All right, we'll see how that plays out. Maybe it's range bound, right? We got a little boost in that oil price. We know that helps Canada. So so we'll continue to watch it. So we're getting some rejection here now, but you see this leg here, right? That's what we're seeing on that 5-minute. Okay. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing that rejection right now. Okay. And you see that price turning over. All right. Okay. Questions on the UCAD?
Question for you on the 4-hour. I'm in this one and I see where it's beginning to turn over. I see you have a weekly resistance there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me see where that's at. It's right here.
Okay.
See how I broke it?
Yeah.
And came back. I just left it on my chart. Because here's another one here now.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you probably got that one in there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which means
Okay.
I need to update that, right? So thanks for letting me know that. Okay. Like so.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Now we see that level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so we're dancing around. We're dancing around here. We'll see. I think eventually it's going to break through that 137.12. It's just a matter if it wants to correct first. And that's, like I say, that's what we're seeing on the lower time frame here. Right, that bit of turnover rejecting at that level, which I should be reflecting that I had cleared that chart on the 5. Let me take that down. 35 and there. Okay. So that's where we are on the UCAS. So I'll be going through all of these different time frames. You all can kind of start to see how it comes together. All right. And I want to take a look at, because this was a setup from this morning that Ryan pointed out here. Now I think I can't remember. I think I might have. I don't know if this is right on what yours had, but I had the same thing, right? Turn it over, but I don't know if it's the exact same fit. If you had a smaller one off of can't remember how you had it set up, but it was the same idea, right? A down move, a correction, and it dropped too. It dropped too in the zone. So that turned over beautifully.
Where'd you start your fibs at, bro?
I started mine's way back here at this low, and I think today you had a sub fit running off somewhere in the zone.
Yeah,
But it ended up at 80-20 for you.
you know, started right off the A, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
off the A.
I'm gonna have my chart right now, bro.
Yeah, it was something like that, but the idea was the same, and it corrected to the down. It corrected to the downside nicely. So that was that ended up being a good play. I think it might have been something like that.
That's it right there.
Yep, earlier, and it dropped. So that was a good move. I had a larger one running for a while on that one, but same move. Beautiful correction play, and you can see it, right? Even though this A, I really only like to play these when the A gets taken out. You can see how when you get that impulse leg, right, the move, and how price likes to swing, right? So that was a decent one today. Also, the NZD Swissy. Okay. So the first one, target missed, then it corrected. Oops. Let's see if I can get these up. All right. So you can see how first one missed, shot to the D, but then it turned over, right? And that happens sometimes. So might have got stopped out on that one, but then the very next fib, that's what we mean by, and I wanted to use this for an example of when we say about those alternating corrections, to where you get a shallow correction on one particular fib, like for this one here. It was very shallow. We didn't get a 382 and it shot to the D extension. But then look what happened on the next correction. Completely turned over in the zone. All right, completely turned over on the zone. So it's good to review the ones that you miss, because you end up seeing the patterns and what happens over the long term. If you journal, if you map things out, you start to notice some things. This one ran 2 consecutive fibs here for hardly any pullback, right? But then here's that third fib where it turned over. Okay, right in the zone, it just collapsed for a deeper correction there. So I wanted to make sure that we went over that one. Because it's good to see the winning trades, but you learn the most from the ones that don't go your way. Right? So I forgot to pull a stop. Oh, okay. Got the first hit of the 382 and forgot to put a stop or break even. My second one, market spike, hit my stop loss. Small loss from the news. Yep, that happens to me too. I'm glad that first target got hit for you though. Yeah, for sure. So that's the NZD Swiss. Also, right? Look at that. Right. That's a beautiful 80-20 swing there. Right. NZD JPY on the 5-minute. Okay. Beautiful swing. Okay. All right. Now we see a lot of these starting to settle in the zone a little bit, deep in the zone. That's quite interesting. See how that plays out. But this one is just kind of just whipping around. See it? Right. but there's opportunities on the lower time frame for it. Cassandra, saw your hand up.
With the 5 minute, because it's, you know, a lot shorter, quicker, are you going in with limit orders or are you going in with market orders?
So what I like to do oftentimes is I'll put a market order at my AB boundary. Okay. All right. I'll put a market order at my, like when the AB boundary forms, I'll put a market order in. Okay. And then I'll put a limit order at the 127 zone. Follow me on that?
Okay. So when you hit the B, you're just going in the market, and then you have a limit set at your 80-20 zone. Okay.
Correct. Right. Then I'm working my stop loss. So I'll look at it, like sometimes I'll look at the trade and I'll say, okay, well, let's call that 50 pips. I want to get my stop loss at 50 pips. That way I know at least my first move is potentially just a 1-to-1, or if I lose, I lost a 1-to-1, right? So you could do it like that. You could play the percentage where just to win, you know, the strike rate. Once you determine your strike rate, say, hey, I'll just put it at the D and I'm just gonna let it float. Right? I'm gonna let it float, because there's always an opportunity that I may add to my position as well. Right? If I get it going to the downside. So that kind of makes up for that distance there by adding a position. So there's a couple ways you could play it. But that's typically how I like to do my setup. So if I'm looking at my charts and I've got a brand new AB boundary, put a market order, put a limit in case it wants to push up. And the reason why it works for me well on this is because it's a 5-minute chart. And it's not a ridiculous, crazy stop. Like on our swing trades, how you can have like a 200 pip stop loss, things like that. You're not seeing that on your 5-minute chart. Okay, and it's moving faster. So it's pretty much the same concept that I use, but just on a 5-minute chart.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then I'm just letting them. So think about that, right? So even if you say my B boundary trade to the 382, my sell limit, set my TP at the 382. However you want to do that. You know, if it moves in your direction, it gets towards your TP, maybe I'm taking the position off. I'm going to adjust and let the other one run to the TP2. Right? Over time, that pays off. Right? So if you keep a wider stop loss on it, over time, those trades that run to that TP2 that you keep running, right? A portion of it running, it helps make up for that, right? For those times when you do get stopped out. So there's a few different ways you can work the math on that. A few different ways to make it work and to make it make sense over the long term, to where you're coming out on a profitable end, right? Because we know you will get stopped out. Right? We will get stopped out, but you know, these are, you know, for a week to week thing. And like I said, we talked about it. It took us forever to come to the decision. Like, do we want to do 5-minute charts? Is that too fast for everybody? But I think that the more and more people look at it, the more you spend time on it, because of the way we frame it out, and because we're looking at the same thing over and over again. Do I have a new AB boundary? I think, right? And I don't know. You guys can give us your feedback on it. I think because of the way we frame it, the more and more you see it, the more and more the price action kind of slows down for you, right? It slows down for you. So it doesn't seem so scary, right? So that's why we decided, like, you know what, let's just give it a shot, right? So especially if you're thinking, if we're when we tell people, hey, set your goals, try to get 100 pips a week. You could do it with 5-minute setups. People think you can do that? Drop me a 1 in the chat. You get 100 pips a week on 5-minute charts. Yes, no, maybe. Don't know. Yeah. You can accomplish that and get consistent, right? Because when we go back, like, look at when you go back and say we look at this this Aussie Swiss, where I kept a super wide loss on that, because Swissy pairs get choppy anyway, and they can run forever. But when we look at it overall from where this initial setup was drawn. What was that? How many, look how many days that was. And that's on a 5-minute. That's on a 5-minute chart. So when you use the fib and you have those sweet spots that you like to trade, they still take a little bit to play out sometimes. This is just an extra long one, but it's still going to take some time to get to that target, because we're not just trying to get a quick 5-pip move, a quick 10-pip move, right? We see that some of these moves. So the way this moved around, so out of that zone, right, to that 382, that was a 60-pip move or so on a 5-minute chart. So it's still going to take some time. And then if you learn how to just use proper risk management, I can't say that enough. Okay, then you still can have, you know, kind of a set it and forget it type of mentality, even on your 5, even on your 5-minute, and just let the trade run. You got your risk figured out before you even take the trade. You got your target set up. Just let them go.
Are you drawing your support and resistance once? Okay, I know I see it on your 4, but are you doing it on your 1 and 15? And because I don't.
Oh yeah. You could still do it. You can still do it. You don't see a lot of this because I've been going through and remarking up my charts. So still do your top down analysis. Still do your top down analysis. So it's just sometimes when I post, I need to, because my 5-minute charts can get a little bit sloppy, so I need to clear them out. So that's why you don't see it all the time. But yes, you want to do that. What was it? I find that the CDD doesn't always play out. Yep. And that, you know, that really comes down to when you look at your C to Ds and things like that. That's really overall, right? Like because you're trend trading, like trend trading, buying dips, the percentage in the strike rate is typically lower, right? You can get a crazy return, but overall, when you look at trend traders, they'll tell you, like, oh, my strike rate is usually lower, you know, with it. But when they catch that trend, it's running, and then they're adding to that position, right? Because we know how big those C to D moves can be, right? One of the things that you're seeing working on these 5-minute charts is that that's catching your eye, because you're seeing it cycle through a whole lot faster than you would watching a 1-hour C to D or a 4-hour C to D or a daily C to D, which can take forever, those large moves. But if you go through and you really pay close attention, your strike rate is typically going to be lower on your C to D moves, trying to catch that major U-turn. So that's an excellent observation. Yeah. So, you know, and then at the same time too, when you look at fractals and you look at time frames, you understand why. Because any type of deep correction on a 5-minute, even on a 1 hour or 15-minute, it's going to take an A out quick on a 5-minute chart too. So that's another thing to pay attention to. Pay attention to there. So yeah. So that's that. There was a even higher time frame move. You're welcome. Higher time frame move on a euro. I'm gonna see. There was a euro Swissy, right? That's still coming down, right? So that's that 4-hour 80-20 there. That's still moving, still making progress to the downside. Okay, we've covered that one. That one is still swinging. And we see here on the 1 now, that's just making its move, pushing down. Okay, so they play out. Do I have anything on here for this one? I don't think I do on the 5, because yes, I do. Here we go. All right, look at that swing. Look at that swing. It's the euro, one of the euros that I don't have set up. That's the move there, right? So just know, here's the thing too, though, to know. So if you're setting it up like that, got a new AP boundary, and you're doing something like this, okay? For one, you still want to maintain your risk, right? So if it's 1%, 0.5%, whatever you're doing, you're just going to divide that up, okay? Right? So you're trading small. At least that's how I do it, okay? But then two, don't forget that once the trade moves in your direction and comes into a target, say this here, target 1, and it turns over immediately like this one did, make sure you go in and delete your sell limit, right? Because it's no longer valid. It's turned over and it's moving to the downside, okay? So just remember that, because I know I forgot, and all of a sudden I look at my phone and one of my limits got hit, way down the line that shouldn't be active, because my trade idea is no longer valid. It already moved in my direction. So, yep. So don't forget about that. Okay. So that's the Euro Swiss. Trying to think. I want to go and take a look at some of these pounds, because they made some nice moves. I can't catch all of them, but this pound Aussie, right? You see your correction that went and moved topside. Now this is all over the place, so that's not a good opportunity there. This pound CAD. Had something here at one point, yeah. Right. You see how that turned over right on this B boundary here? How quick that move was. Now we're just ranging. Right. But when you look at off that B boundary, it's a pound pair, right? So right off that B boundary, 72, 128. Okay, on a 5-minute chart. So they're big movers. Big movers. Okay. We got everything we wanted out of that pound Swiss, right? Look at that. Okay, let's do 2 TPs. Okay. So that one moved right on down. And I'm going through these fast just so you can see, right? Because once you get your eyes trained to, especially for our newbies, you know what you're looking for. Okay. You know what you're looking for. So pound yen. Okay. Okay. You see how that's moving almost to the D, but you see here, this is the one. Right here. Okay, so this is since gone, right? But this setup here, see how that push, right? Look how strong that move was before the brakes got put on right at that 118, 127 zone, and it came right back down. Right? Right back down. Been moving down ever since. Okay. Now that's what we're looking at. Okay. You see how this push beyond didn't quite get to that D yet? Right? See, I just pushed beyond it. That's when you draw your trend lines. And if it's going to recover, you wait for some higher highs and some higher lows on the backside of the trend line. Okay. Like so. So at this point, when we're extended and we're getting close to that D extension, you need to see this to even think about taking a shot on that. You need to see this get long, because we got time, right? So if we start to move up from here and it wants to chase that 382, that's over 100 pips away on a 5-minute chart. So I need some levels to get taken out, right? And then see that pull back and go. If not, I'm laying off of this until it hits this D extension. Then I'm playing the game all over again. It's the gift that keeps on giving everybody. Okay. So that's it. So that's where we are on the Aussie yen, but I mean on the pound yen. But I wanted to show that move here. That was just a monster move. I always find it fascinating when you get a strong impulse move and then the brakes get put on right at that level and it collapsed, right? So you look at this level here, back to your 382, was 95 pips. It's 61.8 was 133. Okay. Very effective. Okay. And for our trend traders, look, there's your ABCD wave there. That pulled right into your sweet spot. Okay. Right into the sweet spot, down 120 pips. Okay. Look, right into the sweet spot, down over 100 pips probably, right? To that D extension, 165. Okay. 5-minute chart. Okay. And this is where we are now. Okay. Haven't gotten that correction. We may not get it. Any questions on the pound yen or the 5-minute chart, anything in general? Ask away. Good. Okay. 5-minute chart is more my speed. We figured that would be the result for a lot of people in the group. We appreciate you too, Michael. Appreciate you being here for sure. Ryan, anything to add for what we talked about so far?
No, sir. Great session.
All right.
Man.
Appreciate it.
Continue to be patient. Continue to put in the work, man.
All right, that's it. All right, so let's I want to take a look at this crude because we got a good little push, right? So you guys remember we spotted that potential crown. Why did we spot? Well, what made us focus on this zone, right? 80-20 made us focus on this zone, right? Shallow retracement, less than a 382. We didn't reach it. Broke the B boundary, pushed down, came into some support. That's good confluence there. And then we got a reversal. Left tip. Okay. 4C, the right tip. A, B, C, D, right side of the crown. You got a down A, B, C, D, followed by up A, B, C, D. There's your crown. Okay. Crown reversal. And we've been moving up steadily, right? Steadily ever since. So if we come into the 1 hour, we can start to see where, right, we've got oil reacting to the upside. So we go to trading economics, oil hits 3-week high. We saw the potential for that technically, right? See how it all comes together? We need a catalyst, right? We need a catalyst to make our ideas come to pass, right? That's why fundamentals are important, okay? Are important. So steadily moving up. We'll see if we eventually get to that D extension at 91. And we'll just continue to monitor oil from there. Anybody trading oil right now? Everybody just sitting on the sidelines. Oil's been pretty good for a lot of people this year. Nope. Reese in it. Mary, I am. Okay. All right. So we got some oil traders there. All right. So that's that. And I want to take a look at this gold play. See what's going on. So we're kind of just moving sideways a little bit. Moving sideways a little bit. Nothing really doing. Right? Still just hanging in there. Nice pullback, nice correction. And now we're just stalling. That's gold. It is what it is. I'm gonna take a look at silver while we're at it. I haven't looked at this chart in a while. So our daily, we're kind of just hovering around, a little head and shoulders action there potentially. We shall see how that goes. Wonder how that's going to, at the 1943 level, how that's going to hold. It's going to continue to push higher. We'll see. So that's silver, not too much doing. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot for these metals. And take a look at this Euro USD. That's from what we were talking about last night. Get that off of there, right? And that's just continuing to turn over, right? On the 1 hour, the 80-20. But we know higher time frames, right? We're bearish, so we're holding below that level there. Okay. So if we see if we can get that continued push to the downside. Look at that. All right, that's how we finished the day. Now we're in the Asian session testing that candle. See if we get further downside momentum or not. Okay. So we did this a while ago, so that's still in play. All right. Did I take my fibs off here? I must have. That's all right. Let me see. Take it forever. Hey, that's the Euro USD. That's why I had to go back on this. I'm like, man, this is still drawing up. Where it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved anywhere. A little bit. But we'll see if that can continue to decline. All right. So hey, we're gonna wrap it up. We got a lot in that Telegram. Oh, hold on, everybody. Let's look at Bitcoin. Sorry about that. Figure we'll look at it while we're at it. It's just moving sideways. Still looking for that extension to get hit. I need that number. That's a smart trend line, so I'm going to take that out now. And I'm just going to run that trend line to the outside of this consolidation. Like so. Still holding heavy at this 17,773 level. The extension from the weekly perspective is at 10,713. Daily, what are we looking like? It's just holding. Right? So we got this 80-20. I'm gonna have to adjust that trend line too. We got this 80-20, but we're just not getting any type of push on that Bitcoin. It's accumulating and waiting on something. All right. So that is it for this evening. Lots of setups in the Telegram for all of us to pay attention to and work through. If you're new, hey, just watch the price action, right? Get those good mental reps, or if you're in demo, right? Trade in your demo if you're brand new. And great session, everybody. And we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, from my man, Mr. Ryan Carthage, for the pre-New York session. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.